Hello, Kurt Jackson, Retirement Income Strategist with KJ Financial, here with this week's installment of Your Money Matters. We're going to continue we've been doing a series for the last several weeks from Confessions from a Traditional Financial Planner. And this week we're going to start kind of another mini series inside there where we're going to talk about alternative strategies and how it guides us in our financial decision making, and how it leads us away from that traditional financial planning, their strategies and advice. We don't want to just sit here and talk about, tell you what's wrong with traditional financial planning without giving you some options to move on to a different path. Over the next few weeks, we're going to look at 5 different specific examples of how alternative retirement strategies, not just retirement strategies, but alternative financial strategies are look in action, and we're going to see how alternative strategies lead us to new thinking and greater control of our assets. Our first example we're going to focus on this week is college education. Typical financial advice tells parents to start saving in a 529 plan or a Coverdell account, and many parents will even start when their children are born, which is a great idea. Okay, but you want to make sure you're doing it in the right place. See, when you look at college plans like we're taught traditionally, those 529 plans, those Coverdell plans, they actually assist your child in disqualifying themselves for financial aid by having them save in vehicles that have to be claimed on the FAFSA form, and that's a form that you fill out for financial aid. And this basically disqualifies them from aid that they would have otherwise qualified for. They end up suffering the same problems as other typical investments in terms of their high risk, low reward, low control, limited investment options, usually with higher unnecessary management fees. They're going to trap dollars in accounts that can only be used for limited reasons with strict rules. What if they decide they don't want to go to college? In a Coverdell, the child will pay taxes plus a 10% penalty on earnings if funds are not used within 30 days of their 30th birthday for college expenses. They drain money away from the parents' financial freedom. We've talked about opportunity costs through previous issues of this. Your child's college education will end up costing you much more than you think if you save for it in the typical manner. And there's even age-based plans for those aggressive investors that share all the same issues and potential instabilities as those target date funds that we've talked about. Some of the possible alternative strategy solutions for financing a college education might include, here's our first option, saving in your own child's permanent life insurance policy. Okay, we've got some fixed indexed ones that can mimic market returns, so you've got a good chance of earning really good returns in there. You got the policy cash value doesn't get counted against the child when financial aid is determined for your state schools. Now, if you go to a private school, they'll typically count it. The funds can be borrowed without taxes or withdrawn and used for tuition, housing, other costs, including mentorships, apprenticeships, alternative or international programs that may not qualify for typical traditional education loans. See, when funds are used as collateral for college costs, the underlying savings, that money that you've put away, continues to grow in the cash value account. This growth helps offset the cost of policy loans. Funds can be repaid by parents and or the college graduate on a schedule that you guys determine. While dollars are being saved for college, they're also doing other jobs such as providing protection, emergency funds, and more. Okay. The second option might be, and this is a more kind of leveraged way to use the cash value savings for maybe someone that's more entrepreneurially minded. So if you save money in your child's own permanent life policy, you borrow against the policy funds for a down payment, maybe on a triplex or a fourplex near your child's college of choice. The child lives in a unit while finding roommates or other renters to turn what would have been a college expense, housing, into a leveraged asset with cash flow and built-in lessons for your child in business, real estate, and responsibility. Now, rather than coming away from college with a diploma and drained accounts, the family now has an asset that can continue to produce cash flow and gain equity, or you sell it. Okay? Cash flow from the property pays back the property down payment and eventually the mortgage and other expenses. Now you have a college graduate and an additional asset. Some additional options with a little creativity, many other alternative strategies can be imagined, such as helping a child create a business to pay for college, or hiring a child in an existing business to help them fund their own college education while producing a tax deduction for your business. Whatever options you choose, we recommend choices that will allow the student to participate in their own college funding in some way, some shape, some form. Perhaps through work, repayment, decision making, and along those lines. This fosters independence and confidence rather than dependence and entitlement. We also invite parents to take an honest, open-eyed look at the opportunity costs involved in college. Look, you may choose to pay for college, even private college, and advanced degrees, but you should make those choices only after understanding the whole truth about what those degrees are going to actually cost you. We can help with this. We even have a special software to help you calculate the true cost of a college education, including opportunity costs. You probably don't want to know the answer on that. So really, college is so. I mean, most all of us want our kids to go to college. They have a much better chance of being successful, but don't do it haphazardly or without a plan or stupidly. Okay. There's lots of different ways you can go at. You can attack college to keep your costs down. Also, in Missouri, we have the A+ program. Now, there's nothing wrong with a child going to their first 2 years in a junior college for free because they did the A+ program. You cut your cost of college tremendously. Make sure there's aptitude tests and things like that that you can take with a child in high school to see where their interests lie, so they'll have a good idea of what field to study. I lucked out. I started one major when I was a freshman, changed it by the end of my freshman year, but it didn't put me behind. I've seen plenty of people do a couple of years of it, of a major, and then change their mind, and they end up going to school for 5 or 6 or 7 years or more. So you want to be careful of that. I paid for about 90% of my college. I got through in 4 years. I was one of very few out of my high school that got through in 4 years. I attribute it to the fact that I was paying most of my college. Okay? And I know that's more difficult to do today, but it's not impossible. I made it through my undergrad without any debt, without any student loans. I went to graduate school and took out a year's worth of loans. So I walked away with 6 years of college and $5,000 worth of debt. So it wasn't terrible, but we've got to be careful. We've got to be smart. AP classes in college, you can take some of those for college, or in high school for college credit to help reduce the number of classes that you have to take. Also there's a non-traditional way. Maybe you work a year, go a year, work a year, go a year. I know it takes longer, but it might pay off because the child ends up getting through college without any debt because they did it. And if they work a tough job, it tends to motivate them more to want to get that degree so they don't have to do that. I know the summer after my freshman year, I came back and worked at a water well drilling place 20 miles from my hometown. It was tough work. It kind of motivated me to make sure that I got that college degree so I didn't have to do that type of tough work for the rest of my life. So, just some different ideas. We're going to continue this theme next week. We're going to talk about investing for income next week. So make sure you tune in if you want to learn more about this. If you're finding value in these, please share the links with your friends, family, anyone that your coworkers, anyone that you really care about. We're trying to help people be smarter with their money. That's our ultimate goal here. Teach you the things that Wall Street, that the banks, that the government really don't want you to know, because they're able to pull as much money out of your pockets and put it into theirs as possible. And yeah, the government's doing it too in the form of taxes, and they are getting their guidance from the banks and from Wall Street. So you want to be make sure that you understand how all of this works so you can keep more of your money in your pocket. And that's what our ultimate goal is to teach you different ways of doing that and to be smarter with your money. Takes a little time, takes a little effort, but really, if you spend a little time and effort with it, the payoff is tremendous. So please feel free to share this with anyone that you care about, and make sure you tune in each week. You can also check out my YouTube channel, Retirement Bliss TV, on YouTube. I think I've over 110 videos on there now. You can also check out my website, www.maxmyretirementincome.com, we have a wealth of information on there, and we keep adding more and more all the time. So if you have any questions, please feel free. My information is up on the screen. Please feel free to reach out to me on my direct line or email me. Be happy to answer any questions that you want. Thanks for tuning in, and we will talk to you next week.